I, 26 female, am about to get married to my wonderful fiancé, 28 male. He and I have been together for 5 years and our wedding is set to take place this spring. So, for some backstory, when I was 18, I was on a date with a guy who was 18 too. We went out to dinner and I thought we had a really great time and really liked him. After our date, I texted him telling him I'd had a great time and I'd love to meet him again. He just responded by saying thanks, that he enjoyed our date but didn't find a connection with me and wouldn't want to see me anymore as he felt it wouldn't be fair to me. I liked this guy and was heartbroken, but I moved on. 3 years later, I met my now husband. When I met him, I had no idea as to who he was. We hit it off and clicked instantly and fell hard for each other. It was not until 6 months later, when I was at dinner with his family and his brother was there, that I realized that his brother was the guy I went on a date with. I explained this to my husband. He was fine with it. I also messaged his brother telling him I didn't know they were related in any way, but that I liked his brother and would like it if he didn't let our past together disturb my relationship. He responded by telling me that we were all good. However, he's continually flirted with me. When we meet him for dinner, he always flirts, saying stuff like telling me my dress looks nice, that I look great, or telling me a specific thing on the menu looks like something I would like. He always does this in front of my husband, who hasn't said a word about this. He also tries to make me jealous all the time. When we're all out with his family, he sometimes brings a girl with him if they've been dating for some time, and he will always kiss her on the cheek, talk with her all the time and flirt with her. I've kept my mouth shut about this so as not to cause anything bad between him and my fiancé, but with wedding planning and sending out invites, I just had to say something. I told him I didn't want his brother there because his brother always flirts with me and tries to make me jealous. My fiancé looked dumbfounded and asked when this happens, if his brother does this stuff when he's in the bathroom or simply not looking. I told him no and brought up all the things I did here. My fiancé laughed and asked me if I was okay in the head and if I was joking. I got angry at him and said that if he couldn't see how truly disgusting his brother's behaviour was, then he wasn't who I thought he was. We've barely talked since then. I got a text from his brother saying that he was sorry if he ever made me feel uncomfortable and that he had no intention to make me feel that way. My fiancé is still mad at me. Was I really the idiot for this? I just want my happiest day to be my happiest day, and it can't be that if I have to worry about his brother doing something. Ha ha ha, what the actual heck? He is being nice to you and trying to make you feel included in the family, and you think that's flirting? He has a date and kisses another girl and you think he's trying to make you jealous? You had one date with him 8 years ago and are still thinking about how it wasn't a match. This is a level of delusion not often seen. This is some next level crap. You are the idiot, OP. Wait, brother-in-law talks to his date consistently in your presence. He flirts with his date. He kisses his date on the cheek in front of you. On the cheek? Oh my goodness, the audacity of that man. He took you out 8 years ago and acted this way. Where is my fainting couch? I must fan myself and clutch my pearls. Please don't let the 90 minutes we spent at a restaurant 8 years ago ruin my marriage. You were heartbroken after one date. You're making so much more than it actually is. You still seem like the teenager you were a few years ago. This is high school crap. Apologize to your fiancé and future brother-in-law, or you may not get married at all. Who wants this BS happening at every family gathering? You are the idiot, and it sounds like you are jealous. The dude is just being nice to you. He wasn't flirting. Bet brother-in-law didn't even remember her until she mentioned it. Honestly, the level of delusion and obsession she has with her brother-in-law makes me almost question her, saying she didn't know he was related to her fiancé. For his sake, I hope he's seriously realizing what a walking red flag his soon-to-be wife is. I, female 28, have always been very family-oriented. Everyone in my family and extended family lives nearby, at most an hour away. I'm an only child and plan to always live near my parents too. When I started dating my husband around 8 years back, I told him all of this. Basically, I want to live near my family my whole life. He agreed to it. He moved away from his family, 8-hour drive, to live with me near mine. But 3 years after marriage, he said he wants to move to a city with better work opportunities. Work opportunities are not great here, but the cost of living is pretty low too, and since we don't plan to have children, our salaries are more than sufficient for a good life. I reminded him of his promise. He was mad that I was still prioritizing my family over him. I told him he knew this about me. I can't ask hundreds of people to move elsewhere, and I don't want to see them only at weddings. He told me he was my partner and, despite anything else, I should be prioritizing him. I told him as much as I loved him, he was one among many people I loved. He's a part of my life, not my whole life. I can't leave my family and life here. He got upset at that and left the conversation. He's not talking to me now. When I told my friend, she said I was an idiot to tell him like that. Am I the idiot? Edit, my parents worked hard to raise me and will prioritize me till their last breath. My family was my support system through everything I lived through, breakups, failures, mental health issues. If tomorrow I become a divorcee or widow, my family is still going to be there. Why is one person supposed to be more important than everyone else? I'm not saying my husband is not important to me. He is. I love him very much. Just that he's not the only important person. He didn't have a good relationship with his family. He was set to move away from them even before he met me, and I never forced him to stay here. I said I want to stay here. He decided he wanted to stay here with me, and now he changed his mind. OMG, my partner and my child are my life, not my parents. I grew up with a loving family that is super close, but I live 500 miles from them. My sister is one of my best friends, and she lives 1,200 miles away. But they know that my family is my wife and daughter, and my choice to make my partner my wife was based on that. And they are the same way. My parents are part of my extended family, but they're not my family. Perfectly said. OP, do you not consider your husband your family? If not, why did you get married? Just because he said he'd promise you two could live where your family lives. You haven't got a husband. You've got an extended boyfriend with financial commitments, and you aren't going to stop dangling off mommy and daddy's apron strings. God, I'd be telling him to dump your butt already and move on. You aren't married to him because if you were, you consider him your family, not your parents and extended family. If your entire life is based around your parents and not your partner, you are divorced already from reality and any real human relationship other than being the baby girl of your parents. You're the idiot. You're also immature and needy as heck. And it sounds like your husband is coming to realize you aren't a mature adult. 4 days ago, my daughter, a young teen, and I got into a fight. Basically, she was rude to her teacher and refused to apologize because that witch deserved it. We got into a fight over this, and she yelled that she hated me and wished I was dead. I told her to get into the car and took her to her mom's home. She apologized and asked me to let her stay with me, but I said no, this is how your life is going to be if I'm dead. You have to experience it, and left her there. These past 4 days she's been sending texts begging me to let her come home, but I haven't answered any of her texts. My mom found out about it and called me a heartless idiot. Am I? I must add that her mom is the every other weekend parent. She's not abusive or anything like that, she's just very cold and my daughter hates her for that. You are the idiot. Did you ever stop to ask your daughter why she felt the way she did about her teacher? It sounds like you didn't even ask. There could be something serious going on here. Also, 14 is a terrible time for children. They're going through puberty, they're insecure and they're trying to cope. LOL, she literally told her father she wished he was dead. A young teen is old enough to understand the magnitude of your words. She got a taste of what she asked for. Dad isn't an idiot for preparing her for the possibility of what she asked for. She isn't in harm's way or hurting from this. She had to spend a few days at her mom's house. She'll be okay. When I was sent away as a child, once my anger faded, all that was left was a horrible assumption that I wasn't wanted by my parent, nor loved because, while extremely frustrated, I spoke out. Keep that in mind. I was the same age as OP's daughter then. You are the idiot. Using her mom for punishment is wrong. Showing your daughter that you'll just dispose of her if she doesn't do everything you say makes you a crappy parent and an idiot. Also, kids will misbehave and lash out with the adult they feel safe with. Way to show her she's not safe with you. I was safe with both my parents, and there's no way I ever said some crap like that to them. If you let your kids talk that way to you, they'll never respect you. You're not the idiot. Sending her to stay with a less liked parent isn't abandonment. This situation is no different from, we need time to cool down. I'll let you stay with your mom for a few days. Parents are allowed to have feelings and be upset at the messed up things their children say. She wasn't kicked out. She went to her mom's house. She's a teen and knows the power of her words. So I, 27 female, have a sister, Melanie, 25. She currently has 2 kids, Sam, male pre-tween, and Avery, female preschooler, and is 14 weeks pregnant with baby number 3. The night Mel graduated high school, she convinced her boyfriend at the time to celebrate without protection. She told me herself she did it on purpose, and my sister turned up at his parents' place 2 months later with a positive pregnancy test, saying how it's all going to be okay and they can have a courthouse marriage now and then a real wedding after college. Because, of course, they won't have to worry much since his parents are financially comfortable and he's planning to get a degree in engineering. Needless to say, their relationship was over before the baby came. Her parents watched the baby so Mel could still attend college. She met a boy in one of her classes who was pre-med and spent several months pursuing him until finally landing in a relationship with him. She introduced him to the baby a few months in, learned he also wasn't interested in being a dad for a long time, if ever, and still went off her birth control and got pregnant a second time around. He tried to stay at first, but ended up getting accepted to a medical school across the country and left without another word. Now my sister is pregnant with an older man who is married, with whom she's been having an affair for the past year. She's claimed the entire time he's separated from his wife and getting divorced, but as soon as she told him she was pregnant, he dumped her and went back to his wife. Honestly, it sounds to me like he wasn't really planning to leave her, and she said herself while ranting about it that she thought a baby would finally push him in the right direction. We were both in town and staying with our parents the other night, chilling in the living room. My sister was complaining again about her past partners and how they're never there for their kids and that all men are irresponsible pests who want to hit it and quit it when reality comes calling. She said that she couldn't believe out of 3 men, all of them were so immature and cruel. Genuinely sick of hearing her BS, I told her that the men aren't the problem and the reason her kids don't have a father is because of her and her crappy choices. I told her maybe if she didn't try to force guys into the role, she'd find one who would love her and the kids and want to be an involved parent. She started crying and yelling at me, and my parent had to take her out of the room. My mom told me it was probably better if I left, so I did, and both she and my father called me the next day to chastise me about how I handled the situation. I don't think I was in the wrong here, but my sister is apparently still upset about it. Not the idiot. Having a baby without the father's consent is idiot behavior when it's a deliberate act. To do it 3 times is despicable. Then to badmouth them because they're not interested in having a relationship, sheer ignorance. Your sister is trying to baby trap guys and is angry that it doesn't work. You just told her the truth, and it was about time someone told her that she was the problem. As the old saying goes, when you're pointing one finger of blame at others, remember that at least 3 of your fingers are pointing back at you. She's tried the same thing 3 times, get pregnant and use that to force the man to marry her. And still she hasn't learned that no individual likes being entrapped in such a manner. For her children's sake at least, I hope that she's gotten a good attorney to ensure that she's getting adequate child support payments. Sister is the epitome of doing the same thing repeatedly and expecting a different result. She knows full well what she's doing, getting pregnant each time. If she's lying to you and your parents about things, it wouldn't surprise me if she was also lying to the men about being on birth control. Your parents taking her side when you called her out on it only reinforces her behavior, and she'll probably keep doing it until she finds someone who will stick around when she springs her trap. Those kids are going to have it rough. My son is a tween and he will order the adventurous stuff on the menu when he knows that he has issues with different textures. We've done this dance many times at this point. He will order something out there, take a single bite and then want my food. I've had this conversation so many times. This time when he went out to eat, I informed him that I wouldn't give him my food. I ordered some chicken and he got fish soup. Well, he didn't like it and asked for my chicken. I told him no and he complained he was hungry. This is when I told him I didn't care that he didn't like the food and he needed to eat what he ordered or skip dinner. When we got home, he complained I starved him. He literally said this while making a sandwich. This resulted in an argument with my wife. She thinks I'm a huge jerk and I'm sick of never getting to eat what I order. You and your wife have 2 choices here. Number 1, teach your son this perfectly age-appropriate lesson that he's responsible for his own choices. Number 2, let him grow up to be an entitled idiot who believes that other people are responsible for his choices. You're not an idiot, but if your wife keeps choosing number 2, your son will grow up to be one. Don't let her do that to him. Just wait until he turns 21 and he wants to swap drinks with you because he got a mule or a gin and tonic. I'm speaking from experience here. Not the idiot. We all have so many of the same mistakes in us. It was time for your boy to learn. But maybe next time, let him order first and then order the exact same thing. I disagree. Telling a kid that they have to finish what's on their plate regardless is a really risky thing to do. It can lead to the kid having a really unhealthy relationship with food. And, in addition, it can also teach a kid they don't have the right to decide what happens to their body. I'm going to buck the trend and say you are the idiot. You're definitely teaching him a good lesson, but with an insufficient follow-up. The answer shouldn't be eat what is ordered or skip dinner, but rather eat what you ordered or leave it and you can make something at home. In the adult world, he would simply buy something else after. It's not the big deal you're trying to make it look like.